A second straight championship is all but locked up for Bradley Holly as he looks to continue his domination into the last great Coliseum. There's no telling in what we can expect to see when you head into this concrete stadium, but I can tell you with 100% certainty that we are in for some absolutely amazing racing tonight. We're about to see it all live, the penultimate round of the Precision Racing NASCAR Truck Series here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Up in the booth tonight, it'll be yours truly, Nick Schmegna, being joined alongside by Adam Lindgren. Sean Crackers Ambrose is in the director's chair this evening, and as always, he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Adam, I'm not sure anyone could describe Bristol and still do this place justice, but for our viewers who maybe aren't sure what to expect, go for it.
I'll do my best, Nick. If there is any arena that can topple Bradley Holly with its unexpected events, short laps, and unpredictable traffic, it's Bristol Motor Speedway. With its half-mile or 0.8-kilometer length and variable 26 to 30-degree banking in the corners, this track is a handful in the fastest of the three NASCAR Series vehicles. With only 2 lanes in the corners and a few hundred feet for each straight, passing is always a challenge and has been even harder of late, with the current iRacing tire model making the top groove the preferred line around this track. The truckers may find themselves able to find the bottom for a couple of laps, but once the rear tires heat up, they'll have to move to the top side for any hope of drive off, and with tire wear at a premium, most people will be pitting every chance they get for fresh rubber for this fixed setup truck. Look for a couple of mid-qualifying drivers to stay out for track position on the shorter green flag runs, hoping for another quick caution, as the 75 miles they are tackling tonight will likely go by quickly. If you've never had a chance to watch any of the NASCAR Series races live, this place is at the top of the list for many fans in the stands. But to give you a different view of the track, let's take you on board for a few laps in a NASCAR Gander Outdoors Series truck around Bristol Motor Speedway in our GSRC lap guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Bristol Motor Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet Silverado. Without further ado, here we go. Hot lap at Bristol. You're going to be kind of not quite the full bottom, but not quite the top. Kind of run this middle right here. Let it float down, grab the gas, get a good head of steam going off here into turn 3. Same situation here. Let it float up maybe a little bit in the middle, pick up the gas, drive it straight down. Now as the run progresses, probably about lap 5 on, you're going to see guys in the whole field all the way up here against the fence. Drive it straight up there, straight down. Same into 3 and 4. Straight up here, let it roll, a couple signs on the wall, then pick up the throttle and let it drive straight off of the corner. That's going to complete our quick track guide here around Bristol. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
And that lap guide there, as well as this entire broadcast, is brought to you once again by our awesome season-long sponsor, Established Traffic Control. Founded in 2005, Established Traffic Control is a leader in traffic control and traffic safety in the state of Pennsylvania through maintaining great relationships and providing exceptional customer service. In addition to being able to provide all you need for traffic safety, ETC makes custom signs, from street signs to company logos and everything in between. These custom signs make great gifts and wall decor as well. You have a design, ETC can make it, and shipping is available. For more information, visit establishedtraffic.com or email Brendan Chatley at bchatley@establishedtraffic.com. Adam, we've got, looks like practice still going on out there here at Bristol, and looks like they are in a little bit of a race formation trying to get familiar with each other. But for those unfamiliar with the series, why don't you run down our race details?
This is the penultimate race in the series. This is race 9 of 10. We have 150 laps around Bristol Motor Speedway, making this 75 miles. We got 2 different trucks. We got the Silverado and the Tundra. The setups are fixed with 85% fuel, which means they will have to pit for fuel, but that's probably not going to be an issue around here. And with an incident cap of 17, these drivers are going to have to be extremely careful, especially with no fast repairs to repair any damage around here. So these drivers are going to have to make sure that they keep it at least fairly clean while they drive around this crazy track.
Absolutely. And another thing to throw into this whole situation, you mentioned this is the penultimate round. Round 9 out of 10. That means championship implications are huge. Right now, as we take a look at the driver standings, Bradley Holly does have a lead. It is 41 points, actually, I believe, over Braden Johnson there for second. That's going to become incredibly critical because you can get 40 points in a race, not including bonus points. We're going to have to keep an eye on them because Braden Johnson is not out of this running. Thomas Sink, Rob Haynes, Charles Sumner, they're all back there fighting for a podium position as well. 49, 68, and 87 points back, respectively. Adam, we've also got a team's championship to keep an eye on.
Definitely, the team's championship is a little bit closer, especially with the fact that you can gain 40 points. So, you could do 40 and 39. So this 31-point gap between Whataback Fat and Furious and Whataback Back Row Racing is not quite as big as you think. But with Bradley Holly and Whataback Fat and Furious, they might have a good chance to secure their spot tonight. Whataback Pavement Puppies comes in third, 72 points back, a little bit too far to reach, with Gray Riders falling back a position down to fourth place, with Bassan Champagne and Hard Knock Sim Sports coming home in the fifth position, 90 points back.
Thanks for that, Adam. We're definitely going to have to keep an eye on everything on the track tonight. Practice here just wrapping up. Qualifying very crucial here at Bristol because you mentioned those incident points. They don't count. They don't carry over from qualifying, but they do count in qualifying. So even a 0x is going to disallow your time here. Just a slight brush with the wall, which is really common here at Bristol, especially when these trucks are a little bit faster in the high lane, it seems.
Yeah, and actually the fastest way around the track is to brush that wall just a little bit to help you turn. But that's not going to work for qualifying time because it'll disallow your time, like you said. So this is how you gain your most track position, is qualifying. So these drivers are going to have to be very careful as they run that high line. We're taking a look right now. I believe that is... I think that is Rob Haynes. Yes, he's driving around right now, getting his time in early. Now's a good time to get a qualifying lap in, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing we should mention as well, we mentioned that 41-point gap for the championship lead right now between Bradley Holly over Braden Johnson. Well, Braden Johnson, that is, he could cut that down within one race margin because qualifying on the pole gets you 2 extra bonus points. I'm sure Braden Johnson, although we just saw Bradley Holly go to the top, he's definitely going to be pulling here for a top spot.
Yeah, these qualifying laps come hot and fast right now as we go around Bristol Motor Speedway. They're qualifying in the 15.5 second range or faster as we watch Bradley Holly pulling in after his stop. This is Robert McFarland going in for his fastest lap.
Looks like a lot of drivers putting up times here. No one wants to start in the back here. The track will clog very quickly and very easily. McFarland turns that one out. Looks like in the back of the pack for now, but we'll see his second lap as we watch now Ray Richer.
If you're wondering where Braden Johnson is on the standings, he has not gone out to take his lap yet, so he is waiting until the end of the session. Gregory Dice about to pull out from pit road and start his laps.
A lot of these drivers not fighting for a championship. We're going to have to keep an eye on them as well because they want to win just as much as anyone else. And a win necessarily not important for Bradley Holly. He just needs to finish essentially in front of Braden Johnson. And depending on how many spots in front of him, he could lock this championship up rather easily tonight.
Yeah, Bradley Holly's biggest goal tonight is going to be survival. If he could just make it to the end of the race, even in the mid-pack, he's going to secure that win for him unless something horrible happens on the final race. But if he wrecks out early, he's going to be in serious trouble. That's where it's more likely that Braden Johnson, if he survives and gets top points tonight, he could really close the gap up. So Bradley Holly is just trying to make a safe race here, but at Bristol, that's easier said than done.
No qualifying time sent for Gregory Dice. He hit the wall on both the laps. Nick Delp all the way up to 7th with a 15.399. Adam Zemke churning out a lap here. 20 trucks have taken qualifying time so far. Zemke's going to be the 21st in that number 21 machine.
We'll see what kind of time he's putting in. These trucks are really struggling a little bit through the corners. They're extremely tight on entry on the high line and loose off, whereas on the low line, they're extremely loose on entry and tight off. So there's really no good middle ground for these drivers to take around, especially on these opening laps, the cold tires.
Dominic Bajin goes out in that red 66 truck. Looks like he's going to dip it down to the bottom. He may have hit the wall. 11th, though, is going to be his first lap. Still waiting on Braden Johnson. And he's going to have to go soon if he wants to put a lap in. 45 seconds left in this session. Adam, do you think he's starting from the back?
I would be surprised if he did with not that much left longer in the session. He's got to get out there. I mean, he's got no time left. He's got to get out right now if he's going to make a time.
I think we might expect to see him now starting in the back. That's going to be very interesting. It's the exact opposite of where Bradley Holly's starting, because that's going to be 2 extra points for Brad Holly in the championship. So that will go up to a 43-point gap entering this race. Don't forget that leading a lap as well as an extra point. And from the pole, I would expect to see Bradley Holly do at least one of them. But yeah, that's going to wrap up qualifying. So let's quickly run you down the grid. As I've mentioned before, Brad Holly's going to have the pole position here at Bristol. Thomas Sink going to be starting on the outside of him in row 1. Rob Haynes and Brendan Chatley going to round out row number 2 right behind him. They're separated by only 2 1,000ths of a second in their qualifying times. Right behind them, still only by 1,000th of a second, Eric Roberts rounds out the top 5. Colton Lane starting alongside of him in row 3. Row 4 is going to be made up of Nick Delp and Robert Malikian. Robert Basaw Jr. and Colin Carroll will round out the top 10.
11th is Dominic Bazine. Alongside him is Brandon Walter. William Hartman making his return last week to the series is starting in the Baker's Dozen position alongside Jason Houndshell in row 7. Austin Hunter starting off 15th. Next to him is Mitchell Clark in the 16th position. Charles Sumner back at 17th. Robert McFarland 18th. Next to him, John LaBaff and Nicholas Hunter round out your top 20.
22 trucks of these 29 have set a qualifying time, so 21st and 22nd, row number 11 there. It's going to be Ray Richer and Adam Zemke. It looks like James Howard is going to get that 23rd starting position. Braden Johnson back in 24th at row 12 on the outside. He's going to have a lot of work to do. Josh Daniels and Frank Peachock going to be there on row 13, and Gregory Dice, the second, going to be in 28th, rounding out this field. I think Brian Brogan is going to be a did not start. Don't see him in the session right now, but he is on the grid should he join later. Going to get 2 pace laps around here.
Yeah, if we have a second, we could talk about the weather a little bit. The weather is kind of interesting tonight. It's a pretty toasty track for it being really for it being nighttime right now. It's an 85-degree track temp and an 85-degree air temp. So the air temp's the same as the track temp, not too bad. But that being said, it's a little bit warmer. We're used to seeing more in the mid-70s for track temp around this place. But with it being just past sunset here, just past the evening, and mostly cloudy, we should see that temp actually drop as the race goes on, believe it or not.
Always fascinating to see the factors, the non-racing factors, play in to the racing here at Bristol. Such a unique track. Not even a symmetrical track when you look at it from above. Really hard to get into a rhythm regardless of that. These truckers, had some fun in practice today, to say the least. I don't think one fender was out there unharmed. We'll see if that's the case at the end of 150 laps. If we do get a couple of cautions, we do always have that 55-minute time limit. That is always fascinating to see play out here in the PRL.
Yeah, I'd expect a little bit more cautions than we're comfortable with, just because of how difficult the set is to adapt to on both the lines that are preferred.
It is round number 9, and Bradley Holly not only is going for championship number 2, he's going for win number 6 on the season, but the green flag flies for the 184. The 48 of Thomas Sink, almost in that preferred line, gets to the outside very quickly, but he's going to be cleared by Bradley Holly. They already come down to the backstretch and now into 3 and 4.
Yeah, they're pretty much single file for the front 4, but then we have a battle between Eric Roberts and Colton Lane down there for 6th position, and I think Roberts saw juniors going backwards right.
Colton Lane stuck in the outside there in the 60 truck. Not much grip on the bottom right now for Eric Roberts in that 28. He's just trying to hold on, doing a great job of staying side by side, as is much of the mid-pack. Problems with Dominic Pagine. He goes for a big slide in 1 and 2. He gets it down to the apron. He's going to be 3 wide, coming back up the track. Looks to have kept it all right.
Yeah, that was a really good save from him, something we could look at later for sure, but it's one of those things that's really difficult to save these trucks around here. So we're going to take a look at that a little bit later on.
Back up front, Holly continues to lead. Remember, like I said, that is an extra bonus point on top of his 2 from qualifying on the pole. That is now a 44-point gap that he has back to Braden Johnson in the point.
As we're looking at these trucks go by, a couple of the battles going on track is between 9th and 10th with William Hartman trying to go around Colin Carroll. Colin Carroll really holding him off there. William Hartman having to back off quite a bit, now is quite a bit behind Carroll, but Carroll, wow, right on the bumper of Robert Malicki ahead of him. He's probably going to look to go ahead soon, shortly. But William Hartman closing up behind as well. This track really gives and takes.
Gave him a shove there through the middle of the turn. Noticing a lot of these trucks taking that middle line, that's making passing even harder. Down there
Our series sponsor, Brendan Shatley, went down low, and look at that, the wreck happening in front.
More problems here. You saw it there live on the screen. It was the 18 of Malikian getting tagged by Colin Carroll's number 12. Sent him up into the wall, and the 67 of William Hartman collected in that as well. 00 of Jason Downshell came piling into that.
Yeah, Colin Carroll trying to get up because of Brendan Shatley going down low, and so he just had to run the middle lane, and then look at Jason Downshell, just nowhere to go here. He's going to come off the corner, and you see Brendan Shatley down low there, and then looks like Colin Carroll goes up high and taps the 00, and then just whammo right into the side. That's rough.
This wreck actually continues. Big damage for Nicholas Hunter in the 109. Brandon Walters, number 99. John LeBaff's 911 truck all tagged into it. Let's go on board with Hunter here. Nicholas Hunter, big contact.
Yeah, take a look at how hard it is to see around the corner here. You'd see, you can't really see anything through his mirror, and then he just piles straight into the wreck. It's really difficult to visualize around the middle of the corner around Bristol.
Took some shots to the front, shot in the back. Everyone out there, that was a mess of bumper cars there on lap number 8. Back up front, leaders Bradley Holly and Thomas Sink working lap number 10. They have not come into pit yet.
Yeah, an interesting strategy. Braden Johnson did come into pit. Granted, he was near the back of the field, so he's come in and come out of the pit lane. Now he's going to stay on the lead lap, which is a good thing for him. But this means that he has fresh tires, so watch for him to cut through the field as they come back to green.
Yeah, and he also importantly survived that accident as well. So no damage on that 36 truck. Very close call, though, just being in the back of the field there when everyone piled in.
Yeah, that was an 8-car accident there. A huge, huge wreck, especially for the beginning of Bristol, and William Hartman, one of those involved in that accident.
Looks like the pace lights are out. Bradley Holly is going to be restarting here on the inside. Coming up on lap number 12 of 150. Thomas Sink on the outside. He got a very good start last time. Let's see if he can do that again. Go over all the skid marks there in turns 3 and 4 from the accident. Green flag back out in the air. It's a great start from Bradley Holly. He's going to easily clear him as they make their way through 1 and 2. Behind him, Colton Lane stuck on the outside of Rob Haynes. That's for 3rd place.
Yeah, third place, a good battle there between Colton Lane and Rob Haynes. They're side by side as they go around the corner here, back onto the front stretch. This track really goes by fast, but they start to straighten out, and now we've got pretty much straight line all the way back down to 14th and 15th, where Braden Johnson is starting to cut through the field.
He is indeed back there. Kind of stuck on the bottom, actually.
Look at this, Colton Lane really challenging Thomas Sink for that second position, really working that high line, making it work for him. Looking a little bit low here, but Thomas Sink, check out that line he's got. He's dropping down off of 4 and off of turns 2, trying to cut down a little bit. But looking back from Thomas Sink now at Colton Lane, you could see just the difference in lines.
Caution is out here for Robert Basaw Jr. He had some contact with Bob McFarland. And a very close call here for Braden Johnson. This could have easily ended the championship run for him.
Oh my goodness, that is definitely a close call for Braden Johnson. It looks like those two just getting together as they come off the corner a little bit. Looks like the one truck of Robert McFarland goes up high. The 43 doesn't realize he's still there, and Robert actually comes down a little bit. And look at that, just barely missing the 77 labeled 67 truck.
Such a close call. Let's go on board here with Braden Johnson. See what he saw there through that. I don't know if he was even able to react or if he just caught a lucky break. Here he is. You can see him hit the wall. Sparks fly into his windshield, and oh my goodness.
It doesn't get much closer than that, Nick.
This is great. He needs to go buy a lottery ticket after this. Hopefully, we can say that about him at the end of this race, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those moments where Jesus definitely took the wheel for him as he gets out of that wreck scot-free.
He has brought that 36 truck down into pit road as well, along with some of the other back marker trucks and damaged vehicles from that accident.
Yeah, Dominic Pagine was right behind him as that accident occurred, and he came in and out a little bit faster than Braden Johnson. I think he might have just gotten right side tires, which is a little interesting. But Braden Johnson coming out in the 14th position, 13th actually, rather. And so he's still within about a straightaway if they're two abreast of Bradley Holly. So quite a ways to go.
That truck there, the 77 paint scheme right now, painted on that, or custom painted on that 36 of Braden Johnson. So he's going to show up in the session officially as 36, if we ever say that.
Yeah, Colton Lane was challenging Thomas Sink there at the right before that caution came out, and it looked like he had some pretty good pace there at the beginning of those runs, but none of the top 10 have come into the pits, whereas everyone below the top 10 has come in and pitted all the way back to Ray Richer, and Ray Richer is the last one to pit who has not had significant damage so far.
Pace lights have clicked off on that iRacing Mustang pace car. Holly will restart on the inside once again. Always hard to tell how he's going to take on one of these restarts. Looks like we're down to 18 trucks on the lead lap. Very quickly, attrition has spoken loudly. Pace car pulling off. Bradley Holly gets away quickly. He's going to be able to clear Thomas Sink once again into turn 1. Not the case back for third. Again, Colton Lane on the inside. He's going to try to power around the 29 of Rob Haynes.
Rob Haynes with a good line on that, good run on that top side. He's trying to hold on, and it looks like Colton Lane's tires have finally given up the ghost. He's going to have to give up that position to Rob Haynes as Rob Haynes makes it by. But now Rob's under challenge. Colt Lane's under challenge from Eric Roberts from behind.
And the battle for the lead has definitely not gone away because Thomas Sink is right there with Bradley Holly. But we ride on board back further with Eric Roberts. Back in 5th, watching the show in front of him.
Yeah, Thomas Sink looked like he's trying to get a good position up there, but Rob Haynes really putting on a charge, really challenging Thomas Sink. That's going to make Thomas Sink have to challenge Bradley Holly up there for the lead, and that might force a mistake.
All single file now. Up front at least.
And down the battle for 10th, we've got Braden Johnson on Bradley Holly's teammate, John LaBaff. And John LaBaff is not letting him by. Braden Johnson really struggling to get any sort of run on John LaBaff right now. He's trying to make it work, but John LaBaff doing everything he can to keep Braden Johnson behind him. He knows this is his teammate's point championship contender.
You can see him work that wheel there. He goes to the bottom of the track once again, trying to find the grip down there, trying to find the run off, the acceleration. I think he might be able to get it. Looks like John LaBaff's truck damaged as well, which will play in favor of Johnson.
Johnson trying to make that work, but the bottom line is not preferred around here. That top line really gets a good run off. John LaBaff not allowing Braden to get by. That 77 painted orange 36 truck is trying his best.
Big gaggle going on here for 6th as well. We might want to check in on Nick Delp and Dominic Vigine trying to get around. Who was that back there? That was Brendan Chatley.
Chatley's fallen off a little bit since this restart, and Dominic Vigine has been flying forward. He started in the 11th position and now is up to 7th place, and now is challenging Nick Delp for that 6th position. Those fresh tires really doing work for Dominic Vigine.
Involved in an accident, but still those fresh tires come out on top. You can see we even go down to the bottom. Now staying in the middle lane. Very close call there. Into the wall goes Nicholas Delp. Now Chatley's going to come down underneath him. So Bajin gets by. Chatley's going to try to do the same.
Yeah, if there was any contact there, I believe it would have been netcode. Nicholas Delp just diving to the underneath. Sorry, not Dominic Bajin diving underneath Nicholas Delp. We'll see what happens here. Yeah, it looks like he just got a little bit of netcode contact, and that pushed him high into the wall.
Continues to struggle. A couple more spots lost, looks like. Back up front, things have not changed too significantly, but those tiny gaps have gotten even tinier. Holly continues to lead, but Sink with Rob Haynes all over the back of him. And Sink really not that far away from Holly here for the lead.
Yeah, these are just mature race car drivers trying to make their best decision on when they're going to make their move. Now might be a little bit early. It's just a good idea to just follow these guys in line and make sure that you get good runs off. Looks like Thomas Sink taking a little bit of a lower line, exiting the corner than Bradley Holly. That might be to cool his truck down. That might just be a preference. But these guys at the top 5 is kind of running and rolling.
This is a 5-truck train, but you mentioned a while ago, Adam, Dominic Bajin has been quickly moving through the field with those 4 fresh tires. He's starting to catch the back of these 5 trucks, make it a 6-truck lineup.
Yeah, and with him with new tires, don't imagine for a second that he's going to wait. He's not going to get in line. He's going to start to try and make passes on these guys because he knows that his play is with these new tires. He knows he's got significantly fresher tires than the rest of the guys. He's got about 13 laps on these guys, I believe.
Riding on board with Dominic Bajin.
Yeah, he is making up time on these guys about half a tenth a lap, I believe. So he's clawing his way up there. This may seem like slow progress, but around Bristol, this is pretty quick. But what's amazing is that everyone's strung out, Nick. This is all single file racing all the way down the line until we get to Ray Richer in 15th, who just got passed by Joshua Daniels.
Yeah, they really have spaced themselves out. We're seeing now for the lead, Thomas Sink starting to take the little bit of a lower line. I know he's been running towards the middle, but he has been going down all the way to the bottom the last couple of turns.
Yeah, these top 5 really just kind of hanging on right now as we see that Rob Haynes having a little bit of connection issues, but he's hanging on. Yeah, these top 5 just trying to make laps right now. Wait till the next caution. You're going to see them come in for pit stops for sure.
Still nothing for Thomas Sink. Bajin has definitely caught that trail of trucks.
And as we're on board with Dominic Bajin right now, Bradley Hawley only has a couple more laps before he catches up to his first lap cars of Adam Zemke and Robert McFarland. So he's got to start thinking about what his strategy is going to be. And we're almost a third of the way through this race. So these tires are really starting to wear out for these guys up front.
You might see them start sliding up the hill a little bit further, especially when they get side by side. That's going to be interesting. For 9th place, a little side by side, as I mentioned that. This is Nicholas Delp under fire from Mitchell Clark.
Yeah, Nick Delp with no fresh tires. He's still on those old tires now, and Braden Johnson, who went by him already had the fresh tires. So Mitchell Clark also doesn't have tires, but Charles Sumner behind them just took tires in that last stop. So these guys are going to be under fire from Charles Sumner if they're not careful. Mitchell Clark's going to have to decide to either make a decisive move or get ready to defend against Sumner.
Clark also taking that middle to low line. See him there off the back of the truck going way down low. And then sliding back up the hill.
Hey guys, it looks like Dominic Bajin might start to make some runs here. These front 5 have been really struggling quite a bit on their tires recently. And it looks like Dominic Bajin's going to go underneath Eric Roberts here and try and take that 5th spot away.
Eric Roberts, number 28, goes down to the bottom. He slides back up the track. Johnson just squeaks through once again. Just a chew truck incident here, but a pass attempt gone wrong as the caution flies for the 3rd time tonight. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, Bajin just underestimated how tight his truck was going to be on corner exit on the tires that are old, and just got up into Eric. See him trying to hang that left to try and keep the truck off of him, but he just couldn't do it and gets into Eric Roberts and ends probably both their nights.
Braden Johnson, once again, had a fantastic deal of wreck avoidance here. You'll see him squeak through there in that orange truck. Go on board with him for the 2nd time tonight.
He sees the wreck happening. He sees it happening down low and just holds the brake and just, wow. He even hits the outside wall to try and avoid that wreck. What a good job from him.
Braden Johnson stayed out and then dropped down to the pits. We're going to step aside here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll bring you back before we go green. We welcome you back after that quick break there to sort out some technical issues that have been resolved. We're here at Bristol Motor Speedway, round number 9 of 10 in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. The big storyline into this race, Bradley Holly and Braden Johnson fighting for a championship. Holly looking to secure it. If they finish like they are, he's going to run away and clinch this thing tonight. We are under caution, and Jason Houndshell is right there at the front. He's 35 laps down. But the leader is still Bradley Holly. Rob Haynes has jumped Thomas Sink for second, it looks like.
It looks like they're trying to figure out who is where, but I believe that's true. I believe Rob Haynes has jumped Thomas Sink for second right before that caution came out. Colton Lane wasn't able to do much with that green flag run. Brendan Chatley made some good inroads. And then it looks like it's Nick Delp in the 6th position who's going to be right there because of the accident that we had with our 2 other drivers that wrecked out.
Dominic Bajin so fast there on that stint. He's just coming out of the pits now. He's got a little damage on the front of that 66. It looks a little worse than it did before, but I'm sure he's still going to try to race that thing. He's looks to be on the lead lap still. But up front, the drivers are gridding up side by side. And yes, indeed, it's going to be Rob Haynes there on the outside. We haven't seen him on the front row yet tonight. It's only been him and Sink. So let's see if Haynes can get any better of a jump than Thomas Sink can. Bradley Holly going to try to keep that from happening. Green flag coming out. He gets after it side by side for second. Great start by Thomas Sink on the inside. He goes right to the point there in second place. Rob Haynes going to slide back in third. Then it's Lane and Chatley in the top 5. But Bradley Holly pulling away at the lead.
Nicholas Delp being challenged by Mitchell Clark there on the bottom. It looks like that bottom lane really only effective for the first turn. But man, Mitchell Clark really trying to challenge Nicholas Delp right now as Delp hangs it out on the high side. Take a look at Mitchell Clark really sending it down in there inside. And with these new tires, these guys have a refreshed aggression.
Absolutely. We're not going to see them slide nearly as much, I think, as we saw in the latter stages of that last green flag run. Thomas Sink, you can see just how much grip he had rolling through the turn there in front of Rob Haynes. But right back here, Nicholas Delp and Mitchell Clark.
Yeah, tires are the great equalizer there, something that's really interesting. But we're going to take a look at Dominic Bajini and Colin Carroll. These are the 2 guys who got into the accident before and trying to make their recovery drives. Dominic Bajini, about a second, he's definitely lost some pace in that accident. Colin Carroll has as well, as he's trying to make his way around the track.
I bet the leaders here, as we go back here, might have a little bit of traffic to deal with. Should we stay green for an extended amount of time like we did last time? Thomas Sink really rolling the center of that corner, rolling the middle lane, charging forward. It's just not quite enough to get to the back of Bradley Holly, but this is the best he's looked all night.
And Braden Johnson trying to make inroads on Austin Hunter there in the 10th position. These leaders really doing a good job of hanging on to these trucks. They're really doing a fantastic job. We're going to go back and take a look at Braden Johnson and Austin Hunter as they try and duel with each other.
Johnson just trying to survive in this race. This is the battle for the last top 10 position. He just got in front of Austin Hunter in the number 312. We're right on board with him now, trying to get to the middle of the turn. That's Josh Daniels behind him.
And these tires have been the great equalizer. They've definitely evened everything out. Everyone's on the same pair of tires, so that was definitely a pass on track for position with no advantage to Braden Johnson. That was just all on pace. So Braden Johnson doing a good job cutting through the field, but now he's got the teammate of Bradley Holly, John LaBaff, to try and get past next if he's going to challenge him.
Caution flag is out. It's Ray Richer in the 44 machine. This is all by himself coming out of turn 4, but the accident happened down in turn 1.
Yeah, this is just a classic case of getting loose off of 4. It's one of those things that's very difficult to try and remedy. As soon as you start to break loose, there's really nothing you could do except for just lock down the truck and hope you don't slam the inside wall. But with 9 degrees of banking down the straights, that's something that's very difficult. This track seems to self-collect down to the bottom of the track.
Yeah, he was hoping he didn't slam the inside wall, but he definitely did. It slapped. Kind of curled him in towards the inner retaining pit road wall there as well. That was enough to bring out the caution for, I believe, the 4th time this evening. Almost halfway through the scheduled 150 laps.
Yeah, and Nick, Rob Haynes decided to take a pit stop there on that after that run, which is an interesting decision. That takes him from the 3rd position all the way back down to 13th. So he's lost quite a bit of track position, but maybe this is a ploy to try and gain the lead if another caution comes out and Bradley Holly decides to take to pit road.
Definitely gonna be interesting to watch for sure. Bradley Holly continues to lead. Thomas Sink second. Colton Lane has jumped Brendan Chatley up there for 3rd.
And that battle between Nicholas Delp and Mitchell Clark ended up with Mitchell Clark having to fall behind Nicholas Delp. So Charles Sumner now has a good chance to get at him. And John LaBaff, who we saw in that battle with Braden Johnson, is down in the 8th position. But Braden Johnson took a pit stop as well, so he's going to restart in 12th.
All these drivers definitely going to have to be on their A game here as we almost enter the 2nd half of this race. Working lap number 70 right now. I believe they're going to restart on 72. Pace lights here. We'll see if they go out this time by.
Yeah, with a 55-minute time limit, these guys have probably 2 more cautions before they run into that time limit. So if they want to finish this on pace alone, it's going to have to clean up a little bit.
That time limit right now, the 55-minute time limit at about 27 minutes 30 seconds right now to finish another 80 laps.
It's doable, but
very
only
possible, yeah.
Nick.
Yeah, you could get about 4 of these laps in a minute. So they could definitely do that in about 20 minutes. But yeah, you're right. That only leaves them about 7 minutes to run some caution laps. Pace lights have gone out. Bradley Holly starting to grid up. He's led just about every lap this race. I should mention, everyone but Braden Johnson wants me to mention this. Leading a lap, I said, was 1 point. Leading the most laps is going to be 2 extra points. I think he's going to clinch this thing if he keeps right where he is.
Restart going well so far for everyone in the top 5, but John LaBaff and Charles Sumner alongside each other, and also Braden Johnson trying to make his way by right now. He's trying to cut his way by Adam Zemke, but man, this battle from 7th on back is starting to bunch up a little bit. We have quite a few damaged trucks in the battle as well.
Yeah, that caused quite an accordion effect back there. Thomas Sink trying to charge hard at the front.
We're looking at Rob Haynes trying to duck down below John LaBaff. He gets extremely loose on exit and manages to save it. That's going to allow Braden Johnson to try and go around him on the high side. He wants to get back to John LaBaff and relive that battle they had on lap 20.
Big slides back here for a lot of drivers. Braden Johnson trying to squeeze there on the outside right behind John LaBaff. He's boxing up against the wall. He's got to have a lot of faith in the other competitors, but this is all he can do right now. Oh, in front of him, John LaBaff's blown an engine.
Yes, and Braden Johnson ran right into him. Let's see whether LaBaff can get to pit road. It looks like he's going to. We're not going to have a caution, but man, that's a scary moment for Braden Johnson among the other 3 he's had tonight.
Unbelievable. We'll take a look at that a little bit later, but right now, he continues to race. A little bit of damage, of course, on the front of that machine.
Going to be stressing about his temps, Nick. This is not something that you want to have happen. You got a big clout right in the front of your
Despite that, he's closed in on this battle. In front of him, Rob Haynes and Nicholas Delp, who Nicholas Delp almost came into the wall there a little bit. Scary moment to see out the windshield for Braden Johnson. I'm sure he's trying to duck down underneath. He's going to here of Nicholas Delp. We're right on board with Rob Haynes, taking a look back at him. They're side by side. That's for 6th place.
Johnson's just got more pace. And Rob Haynes also has pace on Mitchell Clark. Mitchell Clark's been struggling all night around this track, so Braden Johnson's probably just going to follow him through on the bottom side as we take a look as they both go straight by Mitchell Clark really quite easily. That puts Braden Johnson up to 7th place now. 6th, actually.
He comes through. Now can you chase down Rob Haynes? It seems like he's been using him as a pick this entire time to clear a way for him. Next truck in their sights is going to be Brendan Chatley, teammate to Rob Haynes. We'll see how nice they play with each other.
We'll see how that niceness ends up biting Braden Johnson.
And for 2nd place, the battle continues. Colton Lane has really closed the gap on Thomas Sink. In fact, he hit the wall just a little bit. He was pushing so hard.
Yeah, they've been pushing really hard, and this top group is going to have to run into their first lap traffic of the night. Nicholas Hunter is just about one straightaway ahead of these guys, so Bradley Holly's catching him quick. Colton Lane putting the pressure on Thomas Sink right now.
This is exactly what Brad Holly wants to see out of his rearview mirror. These two trucks going at it. He's going to be able to gap them a little bit more and more every lap now.
Thomas Sink really doing a good job trying to hang on to it. We're going to take a look back on the back half of that, and it looks like Nicholas Hunter's going to decide to go low, but that's going to lock Colton Lane out of an opportunity to get around Thomas Sink. But they are going to make it past Nicholas Hunter very easily. He's playing it really nice.
Hunter being scored in the 18th position. He's 31 laps down right now. That's all these guys go by. Answer to the question a little bit earlier on whether or not Rob Haynes was going to be able to catch Brendan Chatley. The answer is yes. He's caught him there for 4th place, and he's brought Braden Johnson right along him here with him.
Riding on board with Rob Haynes right now, looking up at Brendan Chatley. Chatley's not letting Haynes by, which is no surprise. Braden Johnson is quite a bit closer to Rob Haynes on the back of him. These guys might just be riding to try and catch up to the front trucks, but it looks like Rob Haynes pulling down to the inside and letting Braden Johnson by.
He gets back on the gas, but he's going to slide back and behind him. Maybe playing his championship situation, or maybe tires playing a role here. Hard to tell in this stage of the race. Either way, that's going to move Braden Johnson up to 5th. And Brendan Chatley, the next on his target list.
You know, Nick, I heard some chatter during practice that some people thought Braden Johnson was the only driver who had the pace to catch Brad Holly. And it's possible that some of these drivers are teaming up with him, but look at this. Thomas Sink getting turned sideways by Colton Lane. That's going to allow Brendan Chatley to climb up right next to him, and Braden Johnson right behind them as well. This battle for 2nd place not cooling off.
A 4-truck battle for 2nd place. Take a look at this replay of Thomas Sink getting sideways.
And it was coming into turns 1 and 2 here. Colton Lane got a good run and just bumps Thomas Sink, and Thomas Sink making a good job to hang on to it there. And they are managed to holding on to it, but Braden Johnson now trying to make his way past Brendan Chatley as we go back live.
And he's doing it on the bottom.
Was able to make that pass work, as we saw it just at the back of our screen there. Braden Johnson now is going to be able to get up to the 4th position. He's going to try and challenge Colton Lane and Thomas Sink now, but Bradley Holly out to about a 1.5 second lead now.
He's coming in on Colton Lane for sure. He's there. In fact, he almost got to his left rear quarter panel there. I think you're right, Adam. I think that chatter pre-race amongst these drivers, despite seeing Braden Johnson in the back so far, he definitely does have the pace. Remember, he has front end contact and does some damage in that truck as well. He is flying through the field right now.
He's doing a really good job. Those extra tires really working out for him. He has quite a bit fresher tires than Bradley Holly and Thomas Sink and Colton Lane. So he's making those tires work. That pit stop that put him back in 13th position, it's paying off for him. He's up to second now on a track where track position is very important.
He can get to second, but can he get to first? And another question is, can he get around first place? Bradley Holly has quite a lead. It's almost a full second.
That can evaporate in just about a second here at Bristol. Brandon Johnson really clawing his way forward. He's gonna have to cool off those tires though. He spent a long time going around the bottom of the track. That's gonna give Bradley Holly an advantage right now. So Brandon Johnson just gonna have to ride for a little bit and hope Bradley Holly gets slowed up by these lap trucks of Robert McFarland and Robert Malicki.
Very close times the last lap there. Difference by about 1/100th of a second. Braden Johnson's already pulled away from Thomas Sink. That lap truck there is Bob McFarland. We'll check back in on them a little bit later. Right now, let's watch Rob Haynes and Brendan Chatley. Remember, Chatley let Johnson get around him.
And I think Rob Haynes did Chatley did the same thing with Rob Haynes, just letting him go by on the inside. No, they actually did battle it out a little bit between teammates. It's good on them for the sports position. Oh no! We have a wreck actually on track. Thomas Sink gets spun. I believe that was by the number 1 of Robert McFarland.
Take a look at it again. I believe you're right. The lap traffic there, Bob McFarland. Number 1 machine, he was just a lap down. Pretty heavy contact for the 48 truck. Such a good run going for him.
That's not going to make him happy at all.
Not at all. Right up board with Colton Lane here. He got a good view of it.
Wow, it's amazing he managed to stay out of that wreck. He didn't get any damage from that except for from the outside wall.
Just about everyone come down in the pits. I think Bradley Holly's going to love that because he was seeing Braden Johnson get bigger and bigger in his mirror. Johnson's pit stall actually on the back stretch here, which is very interesting to see how that plays out.
That makes him lose a ton of time.
Yeah. That is in part due to where he qualified, which was not at all. Started back in the 24th position, and he comes out very far back, especially under caution. Is that showing outside the top 10 even?
He's slowly working his way back forward. I believe he's going to come out in 8th position.
Oh,
and that's
man.
after pitting just like everybody else did. So he loses
Exactly.
8th position just based upon his pit stall. That is really unfortunate.
Well, we'll see the comparison between Holly, Brad Holly that is, and Braden Johnson here in the pits, and you can see
Almost identical times, but Braden Johnson loses 8 positions just based upon where his pit lane is in relation to the rest of the track.
the lane time there, about 1.2 seconds difference, and I think that's what swung it. Well, Adam, you mentioned the time limit that these drivers have. It's down to 16 minutes right now.
Yeah, they're going to get pretty close. One more caution, and they'll definitely run into the time limit. So this is one of those times where we're 2/3 through the race now, and Braden Johnson down in 8th place. I mean, he's going to have to hope that Bradley Holly runs into some trouble. But even if he runs into trouble, there are only 18 trucks still running in this race. So even if he were to drop out right now, he'd still gain a considerable amount of points. I don't think Braden would be able to catch him.
Braden Johnson's going to need to finish ahead of Bradley Holly, I have a feeling. to even stay in the hunt. But really what he needs to have happen to Holly is something pretty tragic here late in the race. Coming through turns 3 and 4, it's going to be Colton Lane. He is going to be his first time starting on the front row here tonight at Bristol. Let's see if he can get a good jump. He doesn't get a bad jump, but it's an even better one for Bradley Holly, working lap number 108 out of 150. 43 scheduled laps remaining. They come back onto the backstretch single file. The top 4, it's back in 5th place, where we start seeing side by side and some contact made. The 312 of Austin Hunter. He goes sliding. That's Rob Haynes that just tagged him a little bit. The caution back out for the 5th time tonight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was just a matter of an accordion effect happening into turns 3 and 4. Austin Hunter just getting bumped there by the 48 of Thomas Sink. Thomas Sink, not intentional. It's just one of those things that happens when you get on a restart late in the race at Bristol.
A couple of Waterback Racing drivers there tagged up in that. Obviously, like you said, not intentional, just Bristol.
Yeah, and as we were talking about Bristol, Bradley Holly in his Coliseum fight with different people starting on the outside of him for these restarts claims another challenger. Colton Lane not getting the best jump. Brendan Chatley never got a good jump on him. Thomas Sink did the best job, but now he's all the way back. Wow, quite a ways back. I would say that, but he's in 8th position, so nobody's been able to challenge Bradley Holly on the restarts here at Bristol.
We're going to have under 40 laps remaining, which they could turn out in about 10 minutes. 13 minutes and 20 seconds are on the clock now, so depending on how long this caution takes, we'll still be able to finish this under green flag as long as we don't have another caution.
Yeah, but the blood's starting to rise, Nick. People are starting to get antsy. They're starting to make more risky moves. I think we're probably going to see at least one more caution before the night's end.
We've seen Bradley Holly win all sorts of races. Road courses, short tracks, 1.5-mile tracks, super speedways. We've seen him win it under green flag. We've seen him win it in a close finish. We've seen him win it in timed races. He's done it all this season. He was dominant last season, but this season has been something else.
And some of the viewers at home might wonder why we're not talking about the fuel situation that much, because they do have a limited fuel tank. But with as many cautions as we've had, and most of the drivers with at least 2 pit stops, Braden Johnson up to 5 now, fuel's not an issue at this point in the race.
I believe they're going to be restarting here with 37 laps to go. Assuming pace lights go out this time by. Which they do. 37 lap shootout, like you mentioned. Probably a caution. Stats would tell us that we're going to see at least one more caution. But it's all up to the drivers for the most part on whether or not we see that. We've got 16 trucks still on the lead lap as Bajin rejoins the track. He continues to get repairs done from a very early accident. Coming through 3 and 4, it's been Brad Holly. All over the place on these restarts. He has just been sailing away. He does it again. A fantastic restart for the 184. No one can catch this man.
Colton Lane doing a good job diving down and cutting off that bottom lane from Brendan Chatley. You've seen the bottom lane be good on that first turn, so Colton Lane doing a good job of defending, but man, he's actually putting a challenge to Bradley Holly right now. In the back, we have Braden Johnson daddling for P6 with Nicholas Delp. Thomas Sink behind them as well with Rob Haynes. This is a big gaggle right there.
Johnson diving it all the way down to the bottom. Too wide, too deep here with these trucks. Trying to clear the 58 of Delp. A little bit of a checkup back into the 48 of Thomas Sink. A little bit of contact made there back with the 12 of Carroll. They all keep the trucks pointed in the right direction. And Johnson gets forward.
Yeah, and Braden Johnson doing a good job. Thomas Sink having to whoa up a little bit. He's now stuck behind both Rob Haynes and Nick Delp as they start to go single file. Oh boy, and we got a big wreck in front, and Braden Johnson is collected.
Just about everyone behind him piles into that one, too. That's a big one. It all starts with the 42 of Mitchell Clark just snapping loose here in the middle of 3.
Yeah, he got loose on the entry of 3 and tried to correct it, and then he just wasn't able to save it. We're going to take a look from the blimp right now. You're going to watch him enter this corner. He's going to get a little bit loose through the center. He then corrects it, and then it snaps, and that just collects everybody on the back.
Braden Johnson will ride on board with him. His motor got hit in that. That is going to take him out of contention tonight and for the season, I can pretty much say with confidence. Hard hits. He went flying down the track.
Yeah, that's going to seal the championship for Bradley Holly, barring some sort of insane miracle at the last track. But taking a look again from the outside, it just was nothing he could do. He just had nowhere to go and just gets collected. Man, he gets severely punted down the track.
So just like that, Bradley Holly just about has to finish this race. And he's going to be a 2-time consecutive champion in the NASCAR Truck Series. That being said, he still wants to get the 6th win of the season.
Yeah, before we went out to the caution there, Colton Lane was actually sticking with him pretty well and challenging him. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Colton Lane could pull out a win here, but Bradley Holly has shown that he's a very good defender. Colton Lane, up 4 positions from his starting position tonight, he's been putting in some good challenges, and I think that if given the right opportunity, he could dive low and at least challenge Bradley Holly for the lead.
Colton Lane's back sitting 8th place in the points. He's had 2 top 5s this season, 4 top 10s, looking to add to that. I think he'll definitely move up in the points too, because he's battling Brandon Walter, who is not here tonight. It's only 5 points back from him in 7th place.
And Thomas Sink and Colin Carroll, after both of their accidents, they're up to 5th and 6th now. And it's quite an impressive run, but that just goes to show that if you keep your perseverance up here at Bristol, you can get rewarded so long as your wreck hasn't ended your night completely.
It's going to be 28 scheduled laps remaining, but 6 minutes and 45 seconds remain on the official PRL time clock here. Bradley Holly leading the field as he has all night long. On to the front stretch once again at the aid of that iRacing Mustang pace car. The green flag flies for possibly the final time tonight. Holly gets going, but Colton Lane here, he comes right through the middle of the corner. Look at that momentum, the run he takes down into 3 and 4. He's there.
Colton Lane doing a good job of challenging Bradley Holly right now, but he's going to have to find a way by. He's going to have to make something happen. And the best way to do that is to line up a good exit. You're going to use up a little bit more of those front tires, but if you can get alongside him into the corner, it's possible that you could challenge him on the exit.
How many times have we seen the bump and run here at Bristol as well? Colton Lane, he might be saving that in his back pocket for later on in the race too. Might be a little too early now, but with just about 6 minutes left in the race, actually 5.5 minutes left in the race, he's going to have to think about that.
Bradley Holly has his championships points pretty much settled. He's got this race win in hand. If he doesn't have any unfortunate events, Colton Lane's not going to feel bad about bumping him and moving him to try and get a win if he has to do it.
They have really gapped third place here. Brendan Chatley, who's holding off Rob Haynes. Let's go back even further. Thomas Sink back in 5th place right now. That's Rob Haynes right in front of him. Colin Carroll right behind him. Riding in line.
These guys have been duking it out since the restart. Brendan Chatley's really struggling on pace, but Rob Haynes really has nowhere to go. He doesn't have the grip down low to try and challenge him. So these two guys just running wow, quite a ways back actually, just running single file right now.
That last lap by Colton Lane, I can report, got very close up to Bradley Holly. Just about gave him a little tap. Holly came probably millimeters from the wall. But with 20 laps left, we're not going to be able to get this finished under green flag conditions. So it's all down to the 4-minute, 10-second clock.
Colton Lane doing a really good job trying to claw his way forward, but he's starting to get loose on exit. Bradley Holly staying committed to that high side. He's able to get a really good run off, and that's making the difference right now. Colton Lane unable to get to him.
He just has to stay within range. Lane cannot overdrive the corners like he just did there.
He's trying really hard. He's just extremely unstable on exit, and that gives Bradley Holly a good run. And look at that, Colton Lane up into the wall, but that's actually can be the preferred way to go around this track if you've got some incident points to spend. It actually gave him an opportunity to get a good run off the corner, and that closed him up a little bit to Bradley Holly. He cut about a 1/4 of a tenth off that time.
Gave him a little boost down the straightaway. Let's stay here and watch Colton Lane try to close in on him here in the late stages of this race. 15 scheduled laps remaining, less than 3 minutes.
He's doing his best, but his tires are starting to go away. He's running out of tire wear. He's really struggling to get through the middle of the corner right now and keep it from tightening up and smacking that wall. He's doing a really good job, though, on staying on the back of Bradley Holly's bumper. This is really impressive stuff from Colton Lane.
How much of the gap is Bradley Holly managing? How much of the afterburners is he saving for the end? We haven't seen anyone this close to Bradley Holly in this entire race, but Colton Lane, the track has come to him, the truck has come to him. He's there. What can he do?
Bradley Holly starting to walk up the track in the middle of the corners, so Nicholas Hunter is the first lap truck they're going to deal with. Oh, Colton Lane extremely tight coming off the corner. He snaps it loose to try and get that truck around and manages to do so. Doesn't lose too much time to Bradley Holly. Bradley Holly now having to navigate around Nicholas Hunter.
He might want to try that bump and run now before he gets this truck out of control. He might want to get around him now before the truck gets him or himself around. Down to 1:40. We think 7 to go.
Looks like Nicholas Delp is going to give them an easy way around. Colton Lane has his best opportunity right now. He's so close to the back of Bradley Holly. This is as close as he's been already.
He's there. He's just trying to roll the corner. Stay there. Get to his bumper. He can't quite do it. Can't tell if he's backing off there or if he could have just driven forward. Once again, he has the momentum. He chooses not to use it.
He's got just about 1 minute to go now. He's going to have to do whatever he can. Now's his opportunity. He's right on the back, but he backs out of it just a little bit off the corner. He's trying to time it just right.
4 laps to go here. He gets to the bottom. Side by side, it's going to be a drag race into turn 1. It's going to be Bradley Holly continuing to lead. He's going to force Colton Lane low. Can he get the grip? Can he keep it down there? They just about make contact. Through 3 and 4 they go once more.
Colton Lane doing his best to hang on to it on the bottom side. Bradley Holly gets loose and then knocks Colton Lane down to the bottom. Colton hangs onto it, but he's going to lose all that time. Bradley Holly races away. Colton Lane still in second place.
There is almost no possibility of Colton Lane getting back to Bradley Holly. Look at that gap opened up now. Just a big slide out of the 184. In fact, he tags the wall once again. Can Colton Lane close back in? I just don't think so. The white flag's going to be showing here, we believe. It is going to be a 6th win of the season out of 9 races. The dominance continues. No one can stop Bradley Holly. He's going to clinch the championship tonight and get his 6th win of the season here at Bristol.
What a challenge for Colton Lane, as P5 looks like it's going to go to Thomas Sink as he comes across the line. These guys really showed their strength tonight.
Unbelievable racing with an unbelievable finish. We're going to step aside here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We've got a full race rundown of results and driver interviews when we come back. Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway, where we just saw a fantastic finish after a long, almost 150 laps run here under the lights. Bradley Holly, he's going to come away with win number 6 of the year. He denied Colton Lane his first win on the season. He winds up second, 0.3 of a second back. Even further back, over 2 seconds behind the win, Brendan Chatley, Rob Haynes, and Thomas Sink. That's how they'll fall there, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Colin Carroll is going to come home with 6th place tonight, and Adam Zemke, a quiet night in the 21 truck. He came all the way from 22nd on the grid up to 7th. Good, quiet run for him. Dominic Bajin is another good run for him. Last week's winner at Michigan will finish 8th. Josh Daniels in 9th, and Rob McFarland going to be in the top 10.
11th is going to be Ray Richer. He's the last truck on the lead lap. Nicholas Delp is going to be the 12th place truck, and he's the last truck who actually managed to finish without getting significant damage. Then we have Austin Hunter in 13th place, 29 laps down. Charles Sumner, 30 laps down, along with Braden Johnson. Mitchell Clark, 1 lap behind them. Then Nicholas Hunter, 2 laps behind Mitchell Clark. Robert Malikian, 18th, is going to come home 42 laps down, with John LaBaff 72 laps down, and Eric Roberts a full 96 laps down.
Even more than that, 105 back. Jason Hounshell in the 00 winds up 21st. Robert Basaw Jr. and Brandon Walcher behind them, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th. The last of the DNFs going to go to Gregory Dice and William Hartman. It was 4 did not starts tonight: James Howard, Paul Williams, Frank Peacock, and Brian Brogan. We've got a winner to talk to for the 6th time this season. Bradley, congratulations on the win, and it looks like you've clinched a championship as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You were pretty much untouchable that entire race, except that very last run. Walk us through that last 10 laps or so.
When we went back green, I tried pulling, or after that last pit stop, I tried pulling, getting a gap and everything, and I think I burned off my tires, and Colton did a better job of saving his. And then when he got underneath me, had a little bit of a scary moment, and I actually hate myself right now for it, because I actually wanted to battle him for the win.
Yeah, a little bit of a slide there, but still great racing at the end. Just phenomenal racing and another dominant win, despite that battle at the end. I know you said you were a road racer, but you've got the championship locked up. No pressure heading into Mosport. Is that a track you like as well, like the Watkins Glen?
Oh yeah, I love any road course that we go to in a cup car. It's a lot of fun to drive, and driver's track.
Absolutely. Definitely not anything the competitors, I'm sure, would like to hear. Before we let you go tonight, any big thank yous for the season in its entirety, or any thank yous or shout outs you want to give out?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my teammates Colton, Thomas, Rob, and who am I missing? Brendan. For all of us clinching the top five today and North Star title. You guys for broadcasting us every week. Thank you all very much.
All right. Well, go celebrate your second consecutive championship here in the PRL, and we'll see you next week at Mosport.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
That was Bradley Holly, your champion and race winner once again, just all locked up tonight. Adam, you've caught up with our second place finisher, a very hard charger there at the end, Colton Lane.
Yeah, Colton, you were quiet all night, just kind of hanging out in that top five. But when it came time to race Bradley Holly for the race win, you really showed your stuff. What do you think about those last 20 laps?
Man, that was just really fun racing. I didn't want to try to go too early and hold us up. I wanted to get away from the guys, even if they were part of Team Waterback, and then have me and Brad race it out like we did. Man, it was a whale of a good time, man.
When you got alongside Bradley right there at the end, were you confident that you were able to get by him? Bradley was saying his tires were running out. How are you feeling?
I don't know if confidence the right word, but I was sure gonna try. I mean, I saw him kind of slowing down a little more than I would have liked, and I figured I'd try to go down to that middle to low and make it work. And unfortunately, he got a little loose, and I got a little loose too, and we just made some contact there. But it's just about trying to time it right, not do it too early.
Yeah, and heading into Mosport next week, a very challenging track for a lot of drivers. Is that one you're looking forward to?
No, I mean, I like the road courses as in watching them, but I'm not that great at them. So if I can squeeze a top 10 out of it, I'll take it, to be honest with you. I'm just going to try to claw my way back up into the top five in points after the black flag last week and see how that goes.
Definitely a good race for you tonight. Is there anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, same as always. The guys at Waterback, all of us, Brendan, Nick, Austin, Brad, Tom, Charles, John, Brandon. There's a whole bunch of us, and it's getting too big to name. So I think I'm just going to start saying Team Waterback, and they'll know who I'm talking about. But really, just a good group of guys. And then PRL for, being my home for racing for the past 3 years. And then you guys for, of course, coming out here. I mean, I know we pay you, but we appreciate you doing it for us.
Yeah, you did a great job, man, and we look forward to seeing you next week in Mosport.
See you guys.
That was Colton Lane, your second place finisher tonight. We've got one more interview to talk to tonight. It is the driver of the number 59. It's a podium finish for Brendan Chatley.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked to be here right now. So that tells you how impressed I am with my finish.
Bristol, not one of your top tracks when it comes to mind?
No, I might qualify well, but last season we were here and I was absolutely garbage. So running top 5 all night, I was happy with that.
All right. Well, you started back there in fourth. You didn't really get to the front row. Did you have any? We saw a couple close calls there, but it looks like your truck was pretty much undamaged there at the end.
Yeah, I actually was telling my Waterback guys after the race that I don't think I hit a single car or touched the wall the entire race.
Definitely not something a lot of people can say after 150 laps at Bristol. Do you think that's something you're going to be able to say next week at Canadian Tire as well? Is that a track you're looking forward to wrap up the season?
I enjoy the road courses. As long as I don't spin myself, I should be okay. I usually qualify well on them, but last time we were there, I think I was able to get a top 5. So we'll see.
Awesome. We're looking forward to it. Congratulations on a third place finish tonight. Sounds like your team pretty much had a fantastic night of racing overall.
Yeah, 1 through 5. So I think that's the first time we've done that. So I know we're pretty happy with that.
All right. Well, congratulations to you and Whataback Racing, and we will catch up with you possibly in the booth next week. That is going to do it for our driver interviews tonight. And going to basically wrap up a fantastic race here at Bristol. We want to give a special thank you to everyone who came out tonight for the 9th round in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, especially everyone who helps in the organization and the behind-the-scenes logistics over at the Precision Racing League. We also want to thank Established Traffic Control once again for sponsoring tonight's race, and an additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We also, of course, want to thank the very talented June Lalonde, who provides our music. See the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team tonight, Adam, Sean, and Dougie. Make sure you check out the GSRC on social media. You can do that at our website on globalsimracingchannel.com, on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Graham, and of course on our YouTube channel. You're already here. Scroll down just a little bit, hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss a second of racing. That's going to do it for the racing tonight here in the Precision Racing League, but the PRL NASCAR Truckers will be back next Wednesday night for the final round of the season. Like we mentioned, that is at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park up in Bowmanville, Ontario. We've also got another race coming up for you immediately after this on the Global Sim Racing Channel, so come pull some double duty with us. The Sim Racers for Mental Health will be taking their NASCAR Cup cars to the Auto Club Speedway for round 3 on their series. Make sure to head over there as soon as we've got some more great racing. Finally, with all that being said, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast tonight. And until that next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.